Hi everyone. We are about to go live for our second all-in interview. Brittney Pemberton will be joining me shortly. So excited to have her today. So I will get her added in here. Brittney, you can request to join. Perfect. We'll get that going. So for anyone who is new or just joining, this is all in. So this is our alumni live lunch interview, our second episode of this, and so excited to have you all back. And there is Brittney. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
You are sideways on my screen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, perfect.
There
you
we
go.
go.
Perfect. How are you, Brittney?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited. I was, thinking about this live a little bit this morning, and I realized I'm pretty sure I'm counting correctly that we've known each other for 4 years.
That's so crazy.
It is very crazy. I was like, is that right? And I had to count a couple times.
Right.
So I'm so excited to have you as our second guest for this new segment that we're doing.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Great. So before we dive in, for anyone, I see some people are starting to kind of roll in here for this live. So if this is the first time that you are joining us, this is all in our alumni live lunch interviews where we interview recent alum. Today, I am so happy to have Brittney Pemberton on our live with us today. And so if you have any questions for Brittney, feel free to just put them in the comments or to use the question feature and we will get to them. So Brittney, why don't you start by introducing yourself and telling people a little bit about you, where you're working now, and maybe a little bit about your Binghamton experience.
Awesome. So I'm Brittney Pemberton. I graduated from Bing in May of 2019 as a double major in human development and psychology. And since then, I am now serving as an AmeriCorps member with City of New Hampshire. So that's definitely been a wild ride. During my time at Binghamton, I was involved in a lot of different things, including, like you mentioned, being a student worker at the Fleischman Center, which was amazing. And I think set me up for a lot of the things that I plan to do in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm coming to a close now with my experience with City Year, and I'm going to be pursuing graduate school at Boston College in the fall. So really excited for that.
Awesome. Can you tell people who are watching a little bit about what specifically prepared you for your transition to City Year and then, now going on to grad school, whether that be through the classes that you took or other on-campus activities that you participated in?
Yeah, I think so. I'm only a year out of undergrad, and it's really interesting, right? Because you have a lot of time to reflect. Because I think because college is 4 years of your life, and then it comes to an end, and it's like, what happens after this? But you have your whole life ahead of you.
Right.
So at Bing, I found myself always attracted to very student-centered, people-centered, team-centered kind of experiences.
Yeah.
So at the Fleischman Center, right, working with the team that was there, my experience with the dean's team, which I think was one of my first experiences, really my first step into doing student affairs work and working as a group and as a team. And that's been really beneficial and one of the transferable skills that I think I'll take with me throughout my entire career and the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think thinking about all of those things, right? Teamwork has really been awesome. And then I really found my home in HDev, I think. So I was a double major, and I think that I really enjoyed both of them, but HDev was really my home. We had a really large focus on social justice and identity development. And I think that that's been really beneficial as well in my current role, because I work with young people and helping them to kind of understand their own life circumstances. But then also going forward and thinking about how I'll be working at the higher education level with students as well, and just about the whole systematic structure that is. HDev really prepared me for that. They had a lot of group discussion based classes, and I think that also allowed me to learn how to discuss my ideas and sometimes a difference of ideas with other individuals. So yeah, I think that It was honestly great. I miss it. I miss Bing.
I'm 15 minutes from campus and I miss it too. So you're not alone in that. We had a question come in, and this pairs nicely with what I was going to ask you next. If you could share a little bit more about what City Year is for those who don't know about it. And then the question that came up is, how did you sign up and find out about AmeriCorps? So if you can kind of lump that together, that'd be great.
Got it. So City Year is basically a nonprofit organization under AmeriCorps, and we work to provide extra academic and social emotional support to students in, like, I guess, semi-impoverished areas. We work in Title I schools specifically, so students who are receiving a lot of like reduced lunches and things like that is the easiest way to kind of comprehend it.
Yep.
So more of like what I do every day, a glance at that. I go into the school. I'm not teaching my own classroom. I'm just providing support to the main teacher in that classroom. And I'm also pulling small groups. So like I had a group that I worked with specifically on ELA, and a group that I worked with math skills, and then also a lunch group that was focused on social emotional, kind of thinking about how can I better self-manage my emotions? How can I be a better friend to others? So that was always really fun. And then the second part was how I found out about it. That was the direct question.
Yep.
Okay. So you told me about it. But I think when I was coming to the end of my senior year, I recognized that I consider myself a lifelong learner, and I knew that I wanted to pursue higher education, but I don't think I was ready for that yet. So I was specifically looking for programs that would provide me that gap. And that would honestly, I think that was the best decision I could have made. It allowed me to take a break from school. No more, like writing papers and being kind of held to those kinds of deadlines. So a break from that, but then also an opportunity to apply all of the skills that I was talking about in the real world. So finding out about that, I think I was looking at a couple different programs as well, but this one really aligned, I think, with my future goals, which I think is really important as well. You can take your gap year in a lot of different places. You can either do something like I did and have it be, I know I want to go into education and really focus on education, or you can take that to save up money, or but ultimately I think I would really recommend that people consider that as an option and not allow the stigma of, if you take off, you'll never go back, which is like real, and like it's on a case basis. But I think that it was really great for me. But yeah, City Year really just aligned a lot with my goals, and I think that's why I really was with.
Awesome. Great. And I think you bring up a good point there about how, a lot of students do have that fear of taking a year off and doing that gap before grad school, or not even really being sure if grad school is the right next step for them. But it is a case by case, and I'll do a little plug for the Fleischman Center. We can certainly have that conversation with you guys, and we have appointments available on Zoom and phone. So if you are in that situation, we can certainly chat about it more. So great. So Brittney, you've talked a little bit about how City Year is in line with your career goals and that you will be going to grad school starting in the fall, but can you tell us a little bit more about what your goals are looking out another maybe 5 or 7 years?
Yeah. So I'm really passionate about education specifically, and it took me a while to get to that point, but once I think I did, I was like, wow, this is where I want to be, and that was really beneficial. So thinking about, I think I first started with asking myself, what age group do I want to work with within that? So I was like, I love kids. And that's another thing that I went with City Year, because I think it allowed me to have that interaction with students, with young kids, even though I knew that older kids was ultimately going to be my endpoint. Just because I think college students, I'm able to have a different kind of depth of conversation and really focus more so on that identity piece, which is something that I really love. So, I think in the future, I want to do specifically diversity work at the higher education level. So again, with that theme from HDIV, right, thinking about racial identity development and our different positionalities in the world that we live in and how we kind of go through dependent on those identities that we hold. Those are the conversations I really enjoy having and conversations that I want to have with Asian as well. Thinking about transitioning from very strong self-awareness to a larger social awareness, I think will kind of benefit. I think it's a way of really tapping into each other's humanity, and I think that's often lost in the professional world sometimes. So that's something that I really want to emphasize. I don't know, maybe I say this, like maybe like chief diversity officer, in like really, really future tense, but right out of grad school or, you know, my first job, I think I would be really happy in any type of, like maybe working in like a TRIO program or like an EOP program, being able to provide that like direct student support because students need it most.
Awesome. I love that. And obviously, as someone who's in higher ed, you know, I love, I've told you this a bunch of times, but I love hearing about other people who want to come into my field. So I'm excited for that to happen in a few years here. So when you think about your experience, you know, we have students, today's actually the last day of finals at Binghamton. So hopefully all you students watching are done with your finals or you've just wrapped up. So thinking about students who are about to graduate, that's days away, you know, they've made it to the end. What's a piece of advice that you would give to them, knowing that you're almost exactly a year out here?
Yeah. First of all, like, congratulations to the class of 2020. It's acknowledging, like, this is rough, right? Having to deal with our current, like, global circumstances with COVID-19, so they, like, all of them should be really, really proud of themselves for making it to this point. But thinking broadly, I guess I would encourage them to reflect on the connections that they'd like to keep from their time at Binghamton, because that's become such a reality to me being a year out, going through the process of applying to grad school. I really had to think, who are those professors and who are those professional connections that I've made that are going to be willing to speak on my behalf? And that can even be on a personal level too, like the friendships that you want to keep and the ones that you can actually see transitioning to the real world. So yeah, thinking about that. Also thinking about the job search, because I know that that's really something that's been, given the circumstances, again, really difficult for a lot of people. But I guess kind of to the similar vein I was speaking about earlier, your first position out of school will be your forever, or it's not physically going to be your forever job. Don't allow yourself to remain stagnant, right? Like, to really think about all of the potential that you hold and how much you're capable of. So just thinking about all of those different positions as stepping stones to reach that larger goal, because maybe that's not attainable right now. Like, I can't be a chief diversity officer right now, but the positions that I plan to hold before then are all going to be stepping stones to gain the transferable skills necessary to succeed at that position in the future. So that's I guess that's what I would say.
Awesome. I love that advice. And I think that, you know, that is true anytime, but I think especially right now, it doesn't have to be the dream job. And for most of us, job one is not the dream job. And it is that stepping stone and that opportunity to gain some skills and to, you know, figure out what comes next after that. Right. So Brittney, it was so fun having you on for episode 2 of All In. Thank you so much for joining